Hi, you're back. Hey, village. I'm back. And I have a guest that is back. Imani is back. Um, and I will let her introduce herself, of course. But Imani, how are you doing?
I'm doing really good. I am excited for this. I'm
Yeah.
very excited. I'm doing good. Yeah.
Okay, what does your good mean? Because, like, when people say good, it could be, it's like a wide range. It's like, I'm good. And you're like, you get into it, you're like, oh, you ain't good. Um,
Like, what does that mean? Right, right. I know. Because they're just
good
filler
mean?
statements. They're just statements we say.
I
But
know.
no, I think good for me means the sun is out. It's not too hot. That's a big thing for me in Sacramento. My house is reasonably clean. That brings me some sort of like contentment.
Yes, I love
Um, and it's a Saturday morning. I'm not working, so I'm just kind of I feel very laissez-faire, like, oh, let the day come to me. So that puts me in a state of good, I
it.
would
Okay.
say.
Oh, I love
How,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, are you getting ready for back to school stuff with your daughter? Because the last time we talked, she was at a school and we were just like, yeah, 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 let's navigate this.
Yeah.
Is she
Yeah.
back to school?
She just had her first day on Thursday. Kind of weird. She started so literally 2 days ago. So yeah, she's back to school. I think, summer is fun, but also it's like, all right, when do you go back to school? Because they don't have any structure, so it's just, and you're still working and doing your life, so I think it's good to get her back in the routine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I
that's where I'm
know.
at.
I know. Alex is going into his junior year, and
Hmm.
I am still like, so, even though he can create his own structure, he thinks like if I work from home that I'm not really working.
Right.
So he
Yep.
pops in, he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Like, do you not hear these keys clicking?
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
working.
That's very real. That's very real. So he's already did he start school already?
No, he starts on Tuesday. So he is now going to Christian Brothers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Transferred,
Okay.
um, and he will start on Tuesday. And you may see me
Mm.
auditioning for a paid play role because if you ever, I know you are going to be getting budgets. And so
Yeah.
if you ever need
Mm.
somebody to play, I don't know, a tree or a
Yeah.
hostess in a scene for a restaurant, and it pays a little bit, I may go after it.
You may do it.
I gotta pay tuition now, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna need the opportunity. So keep me in mind for stillness,
Yeah.
a greet, away
Right.
from a car, maybe a taxi driver. I don't know,
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So like little cameos, not too much.
not too
Right.
much. I
Yeah.
can show up to rehearsals every now and then.
Right. Totally. So like, oh,
Yeah,
there she is. Oh, she's back for okay. You do your little bit, then you go. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
maybe
yeah.
a duster. I don't know.
Right.
Just my range is wide.
Yeah. Great. Good. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know that. And because we have tuition, as you said, that private school. I forget that Christian Brothers is a private school. It's
Girl,
supposed to be a good, when I was in high school, Christian Brothers was like Christian Brothers. It had a vibe to it. It was like the kids were taller and stronger and they were smarter. It was like so good for him.
they
Yeah.
were just walking Olympians.
Yeah. Yeah. So, good for him. Where did he transfer from?
He was going to he's always been in Sac City Unified School District.
Hmm.
And he was going to one of their specialty high schools, the School of Engineering and Sciences. He wants to be an engineer, so we thought it was going to be a great fit. I was wrong, and I like to admit. I can admit. I don't like to, but I can admit when I was wrong.
Yeah.
Dan and I both were like, "Ooh, we made a mistake there." It
Yeah.
was just it's too small. And as a mom, you think about protecting, your kids, and to me,
Mhm.
big high schools just seemed like a nightmare. Like I was just
Mm.
like, he's gonna get lost in the sauce. But that tells me that I need to trust him more.
Mm.
Um and not I guess not assume. He surprises me all the time, right? And
Mm.
it's my own fears and my own anxieties that I like put off onto him sometimes. And that was one of those times that I did that,
Mm.
is where I was like, oh, he's, this is the perfect place for him. So I saw it. And he was
Mm.
kind of like, okay, I like the curriculum, but it wasn't the environment. So I need to take
Mm.
that L and I guess
Mm.
bring out that pocketbook. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this.
Yeah. But then, I think that's beautiful that again, the journey, right? The journey changes and shifts. And I think versus, there's plenty of parents who say, no, you're going to make it work for these 4 years. So just ride it out. But
Yeah.
I think being willing to pivot and say it's not working and then like, hey, I think that's beautiful. So I
Well,
wish him the best. I hope he gets taller and stronger like Christian Brothers
and smarter.
and smarter. It's bound to happen. So I can't wait. I'm sure things will be great. It'll be
Well,
great.
as far as getting taller, I don't know if we need to like put that on him because he's about a good 6'4", and I need, so not only and I am I need another job for tuition, but food perhaps. So
Yeah, yeah.
just keep me in mind.
Yeah, you got it. You
I'm gonna
got
use my connections. Well, what book are you currently reading right now? Or
I yeah, well, last time I revealed I don't read much. So now yeah, but I am reading now. Okay, I'm doing better. But oddly enough, it's still tied. I think I told you too. If I read, it's usually a play or something. Oddly enough, so there's a play I'm going to be acting in called When We Were Colored, and it's based off of an autobiography or a memoir written by this woman named Eva Rutland, and it documents. And the book is called When We Were Colored, and so her daughter, and it's all about her family, this black family relocating from the South to Sacramento in the 50s. So like they're one of kind of like the first few black families to grow up in Sacramento and just navigating Sacramento in the 50s. What was that like for a black family? And so her daughter, interestingly enough, Ginger, adapted the book into a play. So the play is what I'll be acting in. I'm playing the mother in it. So that's really cool. So right now I'm reading the memoir, and then of course I have the script, but I'm reading the memoir just to hear the mother's voice and hear how she wrote, and so that's my reading.
Oh, well, I'm always looking for more books to put in the queue, which I have about
Mm.
15 that I am reading next, but I
Mm.
keep adding on. And so, what are your thoughts about the memoir? So the script is one thing, the adaptation is one thing, of course. You're the expert here,
Mm.
you tell me. And the memoir is different. What are your thoughts about the memoir?
I think the biggest thing so far with the memoir is just understanding. Granted, how people write is different than how they speak, but it's informative for me as an actor because I get to hear the mother's perspective. So, how she navigates language, how she remembers certain things, how she describes things. I think that it just helps you to know more about the person. And unfortunately, the mother passed away some years ago. And, a lot of the videos I've seen of her are in her older years. So, when I'm trying to kind of create this character, and the bulk of the play, I'm kind of playing her in her like 30s to 40s or so. So I think for me, it's like who was this woman in her youth? What were the things that she kind of was like, oh, that's not a big deal, and things that were really important to her, like her convictions and what was her demeanor. So I think that's kind of just been the biggest takeaway so far. A lot of the play is very much in sync with the book. So a lot of the events that happen in the play. So I think for me, it's just kind of listening to her voice through writing, through text.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I know I've been really fascinated with the migration out west.
Mm,
A lot
hmm.
of books in the South. And, there have been several books about it. And, I've read some of them, of course, and
Yeah. Yeah.
all of the things. And, it's really fascinating because when you are reading those texts, you can just kind of like you can put like your own family into those
Yeah.
stories, or little things that you heard here and there or the experiences. And so I'm really excited about this. I'm going to pick the book up.
Oh, good. Yeah. No, me too. No, you're right, because I think all of our families at some point somebody came to, well, I guess it just depends. I mean, some folks have just moved to California on their own. It's similar to me though. My mother and her siblings and her parents moved to California, but they were from Kentucky. So like that was obviously very much a cultural shock, I guess, right? Like navigating.
Yeah.
So I think it's a story for a lot of us. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, nobody better to tell it than
Yeah.
this is great. Is there a book that you have read in your lifetime that you would want to turn into a film or a play?
Whew, that is really difficult. Every book that I could think of has been done,
Mm,
and that I books that I thought, oh, that's really well good. Actually, but that just would be such a hard story to watch. But one book that really stuck with me was The Bluest Eye, and I
ooh,
don't think they made it into a play. Um, I'd be curious. I also feel that that's a very very traumatic story. So there's
mhm,
also a part of me that's like, kind of going to your point we were talking about earlier about stories, what stories should be told, who should watch the story. It's kind of one of those. I wouldn't categorize it with the color purple, but in the sense that there's so that one comes to mind. For Color Girls is kind of a script or a book. I would remake that movie. So this is not. I'm not answering this very well, but yeah.
Well,
How about you? Do you have a book that you would?
you know, I first of all, you answered the question beautifully. Because yes, there are some movies that are based off of books or plays that probably should not be done. One, or if they are going to be done, it needs to run through several.
Yeah,
It needs to have a very strong writer's room,
yeah,
not Tyler Perry style.
yeah.
Strong. I mean,
Yes.
it's going through
Yeah.
like everybody's name is on it
Uh-huh.
because some stuff that's been produced, I'm like, what in the what in the what? Um, right now I'm reading The Salt Eaters
Oh,
by
eaters.
Tony Cade Bambara,
Okay.
and it's about like spirituality and mythicism in this southern black Georgia town.
Mm,
And it is fascinating because it's almost like you can follow it, but you have to go back sometimes. Like, I'm like, wait, did I miss something? Because
mm,
it's so complex. And the way that she writes is so beautiful that there's been times where I'll go back and reread like a few pages. And
mm,
it's a story that has been absolutely captivating. So I would probably want that to be done very, very well. Um,
mhm.
because they're talking about loss and drug addiction and grief and, you know, sensuality, but not in this, not not
Mm,
sensuality in a Zane way.
yeah.
First of all, I wouldn't turn a Zane book into it. I
Right.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like sensuality in the way that both people are experiencing pleasure. It's not
Mm.
like it shows like there are these people that want each other. So I would like to see that on
Mm.
the screen or in a play. I think that a play would probably be very, very authentic to the book,
Hmm.
I think.
Interesting. Now I'm like very intrigued. I'm like, adaptation, maybe.
No,
Yeah.
and let me tell you, I like to send all of my friends books that I'm reading. So you give me your address and I will send you the book.
Oh, the salt eaters.
Salt Eaters. Yeah. I'm in
Wow. Okay.
so I can't because I keep going back and reading pages. So
Yeah.
usually I fly through books. I'm like, if I have the time, like on the plane that you hear all of this, I will read and just like, oh yes, this is good. Oh, this is a great book. But this is one of those books where I have not been able to just fly.
Mm,
I really want to get the nuances of the story.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. I'm really intrigued. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love to check it out.
Send me your address and I'll send you the book and some pickled peppers because you know I've been canning.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I've been canning and preserving. That is my thing right now.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay. Thank you very much. All right.
So you wake up on a Saturday, you get a book and some peppers.
Peppers. That's a good day. That's a very good day.
Absolutely. Okay. What music has been the star of your summer playlist?
Ooh. Ah, the I stumbled upon. I don't think she released it. Maybe she released it a couple months ago. So maybe it was in the summer, but Willow Smith made like her debut album called Empath. Empath, I believe it's what it's called. Oh my goodness. And I think I missed when she dropped it. And then I saw a performance or I heard a clip of a song. And I was like, whoa, I like this. And then downloaded the album, went to the whole album. And I was like, whoa. And I think it's just this very, really cool kind of like alternative Fiona Apple, Tori Amos, like just there's also this punk rock again. There's like all these different musical influences, and I love her voice. But the biggest thing for why I just fell in love with her and the album is because she's probably in her early 20s, and I was like, I needed this when I was a teen.
Mm,
Like the music, it felt very healing in a way because I needed this kind of music from Black women when I was growing up. I think not saying that there weren't also, there's the Tracy Chapman and I'm thinking of like Michelle and Gisela, like there were artists, of course, who weren't like the norm, like the typical R&B track, right? But I think hearing Willow, she's just so free in her voice, and then how explorative she is, and she just sort of takes these risks, and like one song is very different than the next. You're like, whoa, there's just something very free, like liberating in listening to her. So I find when I listen to her, it's like I'm healing something in myself. So that has been kind of like the album on repeat for me.
So I did know that she released something, and I must
Mm-hmm.
admit, I was kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of the Smiths. I just, and
Yeah,
it's not the kids' fault, right? It's like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's not the fault of the babies. They're the babies. Trey, Willow, and Jaden. I'm just kind of like, I've been keeping my distance from them, but I did see that she released something, and I've heard great reviews about it.
Mm-hmm.
And since you've said something, I will trust it, and I will now listen to it
Ah, okay.
because I saw it, I said, "Oh yes, Willow, I'm all for it," and
Mm-hmm.
that's all I said.
Yeah.
I didn't press play. I didn't download. I didn't
Go Willow.
go Willow. You
Go
got it,
girl.
girl. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because they've been driving me crazy. I
I
said,
know.
I don't know how two people can really influence how I'm like seeing an entire
I know.
group of artists, really. And
Yeah.
I know they're talented kids. They do get a little strange as far as when they interview. They go pseudo deep.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting up there like, what are y'all talking about?
I know. I
And
agree.
yeah. Now, it could be me. Maybe I'm shallow. I don't know. But they're like, I, I don't know. These are things that I can't relate to. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fair. No, I think we've all been inundated with the Smiths for about, it's just been kind of nonstop for about,
mhm,
5,
mhm.
6 years or so. Just things happening. So I totally understand. I totally understand that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
now I'll listen to it because that's really great to hear that has been healing to you. Because I used to, I went through an alternative music phase in the '90s
Mm.
because I like all kinds of music, but I do remember liking music like, like the Fiona Apples and
Mm-hmm.
Alanis Morissette was my
Yeah.
Jagged Little Pill was my album for about a year and a half straight.
Yeah.
But I can remember the comments that I would get because I was listening to
Mm.
that music. It wasn't black enough. It wasn't black at all. And what does that say about you? And so it was like listening to it in silence, like
Mm.
by myself.
Yeah.
Um, but I grew up with white people, so I could talk to them about it. But wouldn't admit that I had Dr. Flo on a few months back or a year back, I don't know. And we were talking about my admiration for country music, and that was before Beyonce released her album. And I was
Mm.
like, oh yes, I mean, I love me some chicks, but they were Dixie Chicks when I was a kid, but I
Yeah.
do love me some chicks and Garth Brooks and all these other things. And then I was like, I wonder if there's a group. And now there's
Girl.
hella people who are
Oh
like,
yeah.
got my cowboy hat on. I'm like,
I know. I know. I know. It's a little. Yeah.
now
Yeah.
there wasn't a place for me then, but now there's might be a place for me now. I don't.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I'm listening to the Infinity song, like the group Infinity song.
Oh my gosh. Them too. Yes.
Okay, so I heard "We Are the Light" and I just said, "Oh, this is my shit." It's so positive
Yeah.
in a world of like
Right.
non-positive. And
Yeah.
they have a song called "Keep on Loving Me" or "Just Loving Me" or
Is this
something.
all on the new? Yeah, because I downloaded the new album too, and I've just been kind of. They're so good.
They're so good. This album is Mad Love, so it was in 2020.
Oh, okay, okay. I downloaded the I think Morphosis. That's the
Oh,
one I think I've downloaded.
I
But
just
yeah,
heard of them.
me too.
Okay, so they have another. Okay, this is exciting. Look at
You know,
you.
I feel like also too the kids are all right because they're like it's like, again seeing these young artists come out and they just are like whoa. I mean, because I think they're like I don't know 21 or I'm 22. They're pretty young. Yeah.
Girl, were born when I was in high school or college or something, and I'm just like, what was I doing in '99?
I know.
That's how I know
Yeah.
I'm very old. I'm like, if I can remember the year of 1999 very clearly, and you were born then, I'm
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
Getting up
Yeah. 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 I know. I
Oh,
know.
all right. Well, let me just start this because the last time you were here, you did give me a dramatic ending. You said to me, and I said, "What's happening for you?" And you're like, "You know what? There's a lot of things on the horizon." I don't know. This could be a quote. this is a pseudo quote. It's almost there. I'm not going to quote it because I haven't played it back in a while. But you
Yeah.
said something along the lines of a lot of things are happening on the horizon. And I'm just going to throw it out there. And I said, "Are you going to come back and tell us?" And you said, "Oh, yes, I will be back." And I said, "Great." It was something along those lines. And I have been on the edge of my seat, but I've been watching because I'm like, oh, I'm going to get the scoop because I'm a journalist.
The scoop is coming. So see, now I'm looking. Hold on, let me see here. Okay, we last chatted in August. Geez, oh my gosh, it's been literally a year. So
Has it been a year?
yeah, because our last chat was in August. Because see, now I'm looking at my calendar. I'm like, what was on the horizon?
What
I'm like,
was
okay, what was it? The only thing I could think of,
it?
I was doing a show. I was acting in a show. What was I talking about?
Were
Acting in
you
a show?
creating something? Were you in the midst of
I might
creation?
have been. I mean, because maybe what could have been happening was Zora and Langston kind of getting that lined up because we ended up doing that show in March of this year, March or April. So
Hmm.
maybe around that time I was talking to the theater about getting it in this season or something. Yeah, I want to know. I want to know. But what did happen, I acted in a show, but I can't imagine that was the big, I mean, thing. I can't imagine that. But
Well, I don't know what it was, but something propelled you to say, no, girl, I ain't talking about it right now.
that is
Because
wild.
it
It
was
must have
good.
been Zora and Langston. It must have been that. It must have
Okay.
been I was getting ready to debut that. That must have been it. Because then
So,
I announced it like in January, so I think that was around that time, kind
yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
of.
Well, there's been so many great things. Whatever it
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
it's been great. It's been a great season for you.
Mm.
And I am curious about when you are in this space, this artistic space, this creative space, how have you been navigating this? The space that you're in, the season that you're in.
Mm. Oh wow. I mean, it's really cool because I got a year to do this. I got a year. So I quit my job. Maybe that's what it was. I quit my job. I think it was like right probably a week after you and I spoke. And I have worked probably since I was 15. I've always had a 9 to 5 my whole life. And while also being an artist. So there's always been this like I work a 9 to 5 because I have bills to pay, but I do my art on the side. I've never been able to just be like, I'm an artist. And so I had a really cool opportunity. So yeah, I think about a week after you and I talked, I quit my job and then I just started like, I'm going to be an actor. So I did a show at B Street. And so I think that first beginning felt actually almost like I was doing something wrong. Like,
Mhm.
whoa, this feels very uncomfortable. I feel kind of useless. I'm used to producing. I'm used to hitting a sales quota or used to whatever it is that I've done in other jobs. And so at first it felt kind of like I was in this kind of apologetic state, like, oh my God, I'm not working. I feel like a loser in a way. Like I'm just some like artistic loser. But then I like and then I really leaned into it. I was like, oh, this is amazing. I mean, and then once I got past that, it was like, whoa, this is like peak happiness for me. And I think and now I have started a job. So I literally had a year of no just art, acting, writing scripts. Hey, you want to come do this thing? Sure. Like just this complete flexibility to do anything I really wanted to do. And then it was like, all right, well, I need money now. I need like a consistent paycheck. So I started a new position, but it's been a really good time. And I think it actually has helped me reevaluate a lot around my ideas of success and like what is it that I really need to be happy. And I
Mm.
really think it is just doing the art I want to do. unfortunately though with capitalism and blah, 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 you know, that
Yeah.
it yeah, there's confines, but it's been really, really nice. So now transitioning back into working a job, there is this kind of like, oh no, it I feel myself getting confined again, and that has been difficult. Yeah.
So you had a year of freedom.
Mhm.
What was the thing that propelled you to say this 9 to 5 is not serving me? Because you've been doing your art on the side, but what
Mhm.
was it about that time for you? This things are on the horizon phase. What,
What was that? Yeah.
but what was it about that time that said this isn't serving me anymore? I need like I'm going to take this leap of faith because that's what it is. It's like
Mm,
you're not guaranteed as an artist even
mm.
though you are very good at what you do. But I'm sure that that was something that played in your mind when you were making that decision. Like I'm
Yeah,
not guaranteed to make money. I'm in the quest for freedom. Like
absolutely.
what was it about that time that made you decide that?
I think it I think there was a couple factors at play, and I have to also, acknowledge that I was in a good position financially. The position I'd left was a sales position. So, with commission and whatnot, you're able to kind of acquire some money, and I closed some pretty big deals. So I was like, okay, I'm sitting on a pretty hefty savings. I'd
Mhm.
also sold my house. So there was like a few things that were helping. But I think, well, actually, I sold my house a little bit later. So at that point, I just had like a little bit of a savings. Like, this will kind of save, would be a nice cushion for us for a while. I think it was, when you're working at a company, you feel, you are replaceable.
Mhm.
People like you, and, there's all the niceties that everybody has to do. But that, like, at the end of the day, especially in sales, which has been kind of like the primary job I've done for a long time, you're kind of a number, and there's this expectation of like being a producer and having to make things. And I just found myself feeling so stifled after a certain point, and like, this doesn't feel good for me, and I know what does make me feel good. And so it was just taking the leap. It was going, logically, you have the money to leave,
Yeah.
you don't have to stay. And yeah, eventually you might need to get a job again, but like, just go. And my partner also was like, just go. We don't have, you don't have, you don't have to stay here. You know what I mean? And some
Yeah.
people do, and that's the unfortunate reality, right? Like, some people don't have the financial kind of standing to just leave a job.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm thankful that I did, but I think it was just like, seize the moment and go. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That rings very true to my heart because I just left my job
Oh
in
wow.
the end of June. So I've been working in public health for 12 years for the state.
Wow.
So that's a whole different
Yeah.
and a lot of things have been going on the side and trying to build a private practice for therapy and do this and do this and do this, and I got to this place where I'm like, girl, you are 42 years old, like you cannot keep this up, like it
Mm,
wasn't feeling good on my body, it wasn't feeling good for my spirit, it wasn't feeling good for my soul, and I just felt like I was juggling these really two big boulders because I
mm,
had to be present for one job, like from 8 to 5 type of thing, nine to
mm,
five. And then I have to be present as a therapist. And like, there's no way that I can give 9 to 5 and be a present therapist. Like, that doesn't, it
yeah.
just, because I can't research, I can't read, I can't do any of those things. And it was stressful and anxiety
Mm,
producing to be like, what in the fuck am I going to do without a full-time job? Like, that's my
mm.
insurance and that is my stability. um and my boss at the time was like, girl, leave.
Oh, you're oh, that's great. Wow.
Like, we're because I kept doing like, what are you guys gonna do without me? Ego. She was
Mm.
like, the
We'll
same
be
thing
all
you're
right.
doing, like Like, girl, you don't get the hell up out of here.
Yeah.
But it was very much like I would talk to Dan like on the night, like, let's run the numbers. Like,
Yeah.
get the
Yeah.
calculator out, the one that makes noise. Like, it's like
Yeah.
and you know, it's there's been some days, like you said, like the minute I left, I went through this phase of like, what the fuck did I just do?
Hmm.
And I think that as Black women, sometimes our value is tied to our productivity. So if we're not seeing this this tangible thing that we're producing, that other people can say, "Oh, you've produced that," then we're like, we're not of value.
Yeah.
And I, it's only been since July 1. So I've been in like a month and a little bit, a month and like a week. And those first couple weeks, I'm like, I'm seeing people, but I'm like, nobody will know that I'm working. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to like justify like I have this space in my day, or I'm creating this space for myself to work out or to read or
Mm.
have lunch with Alex or whatever. But I feel like I'm having to justify that. So I am trying to move through that space as well. So I appreciate you for taking that
Mm.
and saying like it ain't worth my
Like,
creative juices.
yeah. What you're saying, it's like a rewiring. You're right. There is so much of, again, I guess it's like perceived value is tied to the productivity bit. Yeah. And so it is like a literal, like you have to rewire your brain to say, actually, no. But I'm so happy for you. I'm like, now I'm like, I want to quit my job again. I'm like, is this a sign from the universe? I'm like, maybe I should quit my job again. Yeah. But no, I'm very happy for you. Very happy. Yeah.
Thank you. I think it could be a sign. You know,
Yeah.
and entrepreneurship is not what people think it is. That's the thing. It's like I would never tell people like, "Yeah, girl, quit your job. You don't need that fucking job." Yes, you do, ma'am. Until you do not let people just inspire you to quit, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
your
Right.
job sucks. I get it. And people are like, "Oh, yes, I need to do what you did." No, 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 and no.
Yeah.
No, girl, you have a
Mm.
mortgage. Build it
Right.
up first. And I think what happens is that we see it. We see it play out. We're like, "Oh my gosh, they're successful. They quit their jobs." And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, but you don't see the back stuff. You don't see
Yeah.
that. You take a leap of faith, sure.
Yeah.
But, I would love for people to look at it a little bit more before they
Absolutely. Absolutely. But you're right. I think the entrepreneur thing, and build your own business and open your, it's like it's a lot of work. And I think it also is kind of selling people not a pipe dream, but it's just not the reality. I mean, and I think you have to find, again, you do need some kind of financial cushion, unless you just, my partner and I, we talk about it being off the grid. There are people who get off the grid. I mean, you could get your backpack and get on a Greyhound and go to North Dakota. You could do something. You can get off the grid. I mean, if you don't want to opt in, there are ways to opt out. But I think we all realize like you do have to opt in, because it's like, well, I want to have a house and I want to have this and I want insurance. Oh my gosh, insurance. I was like, hey, my teeth are kind of, I should get a cleaning. And I was like, I ain't got no insurance. I Right, because I quit my job. They get right. So there's no, yeah. Well, that's just like, just keep brushing my teeth. I guess, just have to like thug it out. I mean, that's a thing too,
That's real life. That
That's real
is
life.
that's real life. And I was like, I can't I have to pay for my own insurance now. So it's like the
Yeah,
thing that we don't realize, and what we just see. And not everybody is made for entrepreneurship, and it's okay if you're
it's
not.
okay.
You're
Absolutely.
There's other ways you can contribute to the world. and still work for someone else. Like you don't it's not a skill that everybody has, and it takes a lot of like management and executive functioning. And there are days when I'm like, I don't want to go to work. It's like, girl, you have no time, you have no vacation, you need to, like, if I don't work, I don't eat type of, that's the
Yeah,
motto. Like
that's what it is. Yeah.
I'll be trying to be a tree in one of your plays. Like
And there's that. That will always be there. At least you know. That will always be there. Don't you worry. It'll be
yeah,
there. So yeah.
thank you so much. Uh, well, tell me about Zora and Langston, because this play has won all the awards. I'm going to say Emmys, Oscars, Golden
All of
Globe,
them. Grammys, everything. Why not? Yeah.
all of the things.
All the things.
Tell me about the play, and what was it about the two of them, their story, that drew you to it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the play just simply it's about the rise and fall of their friendship. And it's set during the 20s during the Harlem Renaissance. So there's I think it's a drama. It's kind of like a historical drama, if you will, because it really is just about their friendship, and they were friends for not a lot of years. I think it was like 1 or 2 years, and then everything just kind of went up into flames. And it ended because they tried to write a play together. So oddly enough, it's a play about people writing a play, and they just couldn't, just due to artistic differences and I think also emotions and you I think what drew me to the story is we're so used to seeing our icons actualized. Like everyone, we all think of Martin Luther King when he gives the I Have a Dream speech, or you know the Black Panther Party when they had the guns at the cap. Like we all see these like pictures and we're like, wow, they were badasses. Like, whoa, one day I'll be like this. And we miss all of the journey that it takes to get there.
Like
And
that
so
entrepreneurship.
the entrepreneurship, we see the end, like, oh, one day I'll get, it's like, well, you got to see. And I think what was cool to me is the time that the two of them were friends. Langston was about 21 and Zora was about 31. So they're both really young in their careers. And I was just intrigued by our icons as young people. It's like I wanted to show them being kind of messy. I wanted to show them being not having all the answers, figuring themselves out. I think we see these people, these like these two-dimensional kind of iconic writer, legendary this. And I think it's like at first they were just artists who didn't have any money and had to figure out how to pay their bill. You know what I mean? Where to eat, how they could eat. So I just wanted to, provide a space for showing, I guess, the complexity of their youth as writers, and that's the show. Actually.
Well, you did not mention all of the awards. I think I made the ones up but it was an LA film festival of some sort.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say of some sort because it's a big fucking deal. So, will you tell us what happened? Like, did you have to? Okay, you tell us about the film festival. Tell the village about the film festival. What you had to do to get into the film festival, and I believe that y'all had to act while you were there. Like, you couldn't just submit the.
No.
Okay.
No, because it was interesting. So, we had staged Zora and Langston at Celebration Arts. So that was in March of this year. And then I kind of on my own accord, it's called, the She LA Summer Festival. And it's a festival for playwrights. So specifically folks who are like women or women identifying. And so I just submitted the script, like, well, let's just see. And then at some point they'd emailed me. Granted, Zora at this point, Zora and Langston, I think we're finishing up the show, and I get an email back from them saying, "Oh, maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what the thing was." Because like submitted it, and I'm like, maybe something can happen. And anyway, they emailed me back like, yeah, we've looked over, 600 scripts or something, and you're a semifinalist. We're just letting you know. It's like, all right. I kind of forgotten. And then they emailed me back maybe a couple weeks later, and we're just saying, you are a finalist. You're one of the 4 productions to be, one of the 4 scripts to be chosen. And what that means is will bring assemble actors, and you will bring them to LA, and you'll perform it for our LA audience. So I was like, whoa. And the timing was literally perfect because we had just finished Zora and Langston, and I had a cast. I had a cast and a crew versus the other playwrights. I think this was their first time ever staging. So we had really the whole play kind of done. So then it was just asking them, like, do you want to go to LA with me? And they were like, yeah, oh my God. And so yeah, but it was definitely a challenge because when we first staged it, we had a full set, and this was much more grassroots. Like, it was kind of, we had to be very bare bones. So the set pieces we brought was very like strategic because we couldn't bring too much in the van. And then we performed. So it was four different plays, and they did sort of an award ceremony at the end, and we won best production and best score, which nobody was expecting. We're all like, I don't think we expected really to get anything, not because the play was bad, but because I don't know, we just didn't expect it. But they also too, Zora and Langston was the only show to sell out. Not to be,
Oh no,
props to the
you need to be. You need to be. And that is amazing.
Yeah. So I'm gonna talk my shit. Because but I think also too, people saw the title. I think the title of it helps too, because if people are aware, it's like, oh, Zora and Neil Hurston, and I think that brings people in. We had an incredibly diverse set of audiences, which was awesome. And people just really seemed to enjoy the show, and were like, I learned things I never knew, and I cried, I this, I that, and I connected to them. So that, and to me, that's just kind of like, that's all I really am after, to be honest. It's just how the audience feels and receives the show, and if it makes sense, if they get what's going on,
Yeah. Well, does the play? So okay, when that happens, what is the next thing? Or do you think about the next thing? So if you're in LA, you do this play, it's well received, people are selling out, they're like lined up around the corner and like selling bootleg shirts outside. I'm gonna hype it up.
Yeah.
They're out there like, come get your Zora Neale Hurston. $20. You in the inside is 45. Like, come get it right here. Like, we're gonna we are putting this stuff out there. Like, I want to be like, where I'm like, God damn, I'm gonna get I'm gonna support Imani fully. Like, I want. So, what happens next, or are you in that frame of mind like, oh, this is what's gonna happen next, or you just like, I'm staying in the present?
What the cast and I were talking about that I think is a really cool idea is, we were all like, wow, we're like this traveling theater troupe, and there was conversation around, there's nothing that prohibits us from staging it somewhere else. So we realized, we're like, wait, all we need are these, because of the festival, it forced us to have to get very compact with the set and pieces. So then it was like, wait, we could take this somewhere else. Like, we could do this very easily. I really think the show could be done with like a table and 2 chairs. I think that's the kind of play it is. I think it really is just it's a drama, and it's really character focused, and we don't need a whole bunch of stuff to tell the story. But so there was talk of, well, what if we took this to New York? What if we, so like creating almost like a tour for the show. And the thing about that is, I really like the idea of it. I think what's hard for me is bandwidth capacity. It's like, you know what I mean? It puts me into a producer space, which I love. I would love to coordinate and figure that stuff out. But now I have a job. You see what I'm, so it's like, you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of like not the frustration, but just kind of like, damn, because I want that to happen, and it can happen still, but it just means I'm doing it. I'm working on it like an hour, 2 hours a day, because that's kind of like the time I would have.
Yeah.
So that's really, and the other thing with Zora and Langston, I would love for just to be, published work, so that if other people want to stage it, they can stage it, and they buy the rights to it and whatnot. That's kind of where I see that project ultimately ending. But until then, I'd like to stage it other places. But it's just, yeah, that takes time. Calling places, venues, and figure out the money, getting money for that, and then how do we get there? It's just a lot of planning that takes some time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I is there a way that the play can be seen? Is it virtual? Can you virtually see, or do we have to wait until, until you produce find us a new venue to go?
I know. You know what there is? It is I do have a clip of it. So I think it's just, or a full recording of it. So I think it's just like sharing it with people. So
Mhm.
there is an unlisted YouTube link if one would like the link. I just haven't made it public yet, but if you would like I will send you the link. If anybody
I,
wants the link, just let me know.
I will want the link, but I also want to buy a ticket to the link. So
Oh.
you send the link and my family watches it, because it could be something that we play on our television
Mm-hmm.
as like a movie night,
Yeah.
as long as they're not breaking out into song, because Dan does not do, and I don't either, but I will do it when it's somebody that I care about. I'm like, girl, send me your damn music, because I'm gonna support you like you
Right.
leave. But we would pay for your link.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
you send me the link and I will sell you tickets.
Oh, just
Oh,
no,
that's what
please,
I'm doing.
please.
Don't you stop me. So
Mm,
yes, I would love that.
okay.
Love it so
Okay.
much.
Awesome. Yeah,
Because
I'd love to hear what you think about it, because I think, watching, I think recorded theater is not the same, but I think the recording is pretty high quality, so I think it'll be decent,
yeah.
decent.
Well, I saw the
So,
pictures. The pictures were amazing.
yeah, they took some, and those were all by the theater. I mean, the festival. They, yeah, took some incredible photos. It was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love it. Okay. So you've been hitting the stage hard with a job.
Yeah.
What does rest look like for you? Because, like we said, sometimes our productivity is tied to our value, unfortunately,
Yeah.
and that takes some rewiring to say, no, it's not. But what
Yeah.
does rest look like for you during these seasons of directing, producing, acting, and working?
Ooh,
And
ooh, and working and mothering and yeah. I think honestly, I guess discernment, I think is which is probably my hardest thing, is saying no to stuff. I know when I'm I think it's just remaining self-aware. I know when I'm at my limit. Um, and unfortunately, because I'm a very curious and creative person, if someone's like, "Hey, I got something," I'm like, "Yeah, let's fucking go." And then my partner's like, "You're already doing 5 things. What are you doing?" Like, "Oh yeah, yeah, okay." So then I think it's just saying no. That's not going to work. That's not going to happen. Thankfully, right now I've kind of planned out the rest of my year where it's sort of a project every month or so, like, so it's kind of, or every other month.
Mhm.
So I've got the show I'm directing at Celebration Arts, and then like the show I'm acting in, but it's like one month and the next month, and so I think that's the way to go for me. And then also too, I think what helps as well is diversifying. So it's, if I'm directing here, I'm acting here, now I'm directing again. Like just straight directing or like straight producing, I think would be overwhelming. So I don't know. Yeah, I think thankfully I feel like I'm actually in a good spot right now, because the festival in LA was a lot, because they rehearsed for a week straight, and then we drove to LA. So it was just all this stuff we had to do. So you can Yeah.
What is,
So anyway, I feel rested though, ultimately.
okay. So it's
Yeah.
about planning for you. Do you just sit down and like
Mm.
take a planner and say this, and this? How do you go about it? Because I think this could be a lesson for many of us that
Mm.
want to pursue all these different things is how do you sit back and say how are you working on discernment? Is it by actual planning or do you get into the space like, oh shit, this is so much?
I know. I think I don't know. This has been again maybe because I got the year to just do art. I also realized what environments, I guess in a weird way, like what are my artistic triggers? Like when do I know I've hit my limit or when do I know an environment isn't good for me or so now I feel like it's more a proactive space. Like if a project comes up and I know there's certain things I'm like, this is not gonna, it's just, no, no, thank you for thinking of me, but no. And I think to your point too, planning is so important. I do get that a lot of artists, because we're artists and we want to just make art, that no one wants to like sit and make spreadsheets and shit, but like that is important. You know what I mean? Like Google Docs, spreadsheets, notes. That to me has kept me really just collected because the art stuff is the fun part. I think it's all the administrative stuff that you have to do on the back end. It's like with the show I'm about to direct. Yeah, the fun part is directing. There's also this logistical sort of, not a nightmare, but of casting, which is kind of fun, but then it really becomes this like, who can I bring in the room? This and that. Do they have the script? Do they have this? Do they have this? What are your conflicts? What are you, da, 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 what days can you not be here? I mean, it's like we're not even close to even being on stage, but we're doing all this other stuff. So, I mean, that would be kind of my recommendation. But I also get that some people aren't wired that way, especially a lot of folks in the artistic space. They it's not wired that way.
Well, are there like consultants or people that assist with that? So like I get
Mm.
that. Like I think that I'm a good not this is going to sound really weird, but just bear with me here. I think I'm a good face for things. Like I'm a big picture thinker. So even
Mhm.
with like the conference, right? When Jessica and I were working together, I'm a big picture thinker. Like I'm like this huge dreamer. I'm like, and it should do this, and it should do this, and it should do this. But for me, sometimes, like I believe I'm an organized person, but sometimes there has to be a person that I have with me that can
Mhm.
logistically do stuff. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, what? You need what to do that? Oh, girl,
Yeah.
I don't know how to work Excel. I don't like Excel. So,
Yeah.
but there's somebody that can do that in the artistic world. Like for play,
Mm.
is there someone or a company or a type of person that can
Mm.
do that for the creative?
I mean, I would love to. I no, in the sense that no. There are, you'll go to a play and there's usually a production manager, which is someone who kind of does this sort of administrative, making sure all the T's are crossed, all I's dotted, all that. But in terms of like a consultant or someone who can really guide, if someone says, I want to stage a play in Sacramento, there's no one right now who will say, I can help you do that. I can help you produce this. I can give you the steps, right? Um, and I think there's a space for that. I think I've kind of found myself in that space here and there. I've had people reach out to me and say, hey, I know you've made a film before. I know you've like, how can I get my film made? And so I'll give some advice, but I do think to your point, I think there's a space for someone really being, I'm like,
Look at your new company. See,
I yeah, there's a lot. I'm taking away a lot from this call. I'm like, quit your job, become a consultant.
uh,
No, I mean, yeah, because I like to do it. So then,
mhm.
to your point, you do find people who one are good at it and like to do it. I think that's also, and I like to help people, but yeah, well,
You know what? if you need a secretary on occasional Saturdays,
Occasional quarterly Saturdays every quarter.
somebody just put the papers together, type a couple of emails.
Yeah,
I got tuition
thank
to
you.
pay. So
Right,
yeah.
right.
See, this is why we get together.
I
You just
know.
started a company. You made you ma- I'm gonna put it out there because I think it's a great idea. I think about it in like this virtual, not a virtual assistant, but they have those companies. But like there has to be, because if you're right, if you're not that type of person, but you really want to get it done, it's
Hmm.
not always just like I have an idea.
I know. Yeah,
Idea is worth a play. It probably is. But
right.
as
But
as the consumer,
I know.
to be together. I
Yeah.
don't have me sitting up there and the chair didn't show up.
Yeah. Right. 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 Right.
Or the tickets aren't ready.
Yes. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
there's no venue
I know. It's like, where is the play? Well,
in
we
the
don't
parking
know.
lot
Yeah.
because we didn't secure. Like, don't do that.
Yeah, I
No.
agree.
If you love it and you're good at it and you've
Hmm.
done it, girl.
Hmm. Hmm.
mm, okay,
Okay.
I love it.
Thank you.
You're ideas are always flowing for myself or other people all the
Yeah.
time. I'll go on
Yeah.
walks with people. I'm like, girl, did you think about hair care? And
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
like what? Like all the time. I'm like a little idea generator. I don't know. Um,
Absolutely. No, I love this. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Yeah. Hmm.
So we're natural storytellers as Black people. I remember going to the African American Museum in DC, and they had
Hmm.
this part of the exhibit where it talked about stories being passed on. And I was like, that's why I'm a narrative therapist. That's why I lean more there, is because
Hmm.
our stories are so important to how we navigate our world.
Yeah.
Either stories that we've heard, stories that we've created, either they are true or not true, how we see ourselves. And so one of the things I wanted to ask you, and we talked about this before we started recording, was how important are our stories? Um,
Hmm.
what stories are you hoping to see or hear or even share? And who should be this is hard because I'm not sure how to say it. Who should be the witness to our story?
Hmm. Woo! Chioko. This is like, I feel like this is the question of my life. I feel like I'm constantly talking about this.
Yeah.
I think it's so complicated. I feel that especially as a writer, and I see the stories that get out there, I'm like, well, that's interesting. Hmm, okay, got it. It's like the American fiction. I'm sure you've seen American fiction, where it's like, oh, so if I write like this, then this is the story that gets out there. But if I don't, then, and I think the stories that I'm kind of like just desperately missing are, again, I'm a drama girl. I love a good drama. I love a good, I just, I find that everything that I see that is from the Black perspective as of late is tied to somehow like the white gaze or the white, like, and almost too, there's this odd thing that if you, let's say you write a story or a film about police brutality, and it's all about how police brutality is bad, you were still, and white cops are bad, you were still centering white cops in the narrative in a way, even though you're taking the time to say they're very bad. You still have to hire a bunch of white actors and bring them in, and you still are giving, and it's not that I'm trying to say we should avoid those stories, but it's just like I start to see these patterns, and I'm like, for me, I'm just like, can I get a story about a Black woman being a caregiver for her dying mother? Can I get a story about a Black person navigating having cancer? Can I get a story about a Black person opening a theater company and the ups and downs? Like just us going through life, navigating relationships, navigating jobs. You know what I mean? I'm feeling like it becomes very one note. And to your point too, like there's so many shows I have seen, specifically plays, because I remember when I started writing Zora and Langston, and I was just doing research, reading other plays that are out there by other Black playwrights. And every play is about white people somehow doing something wrong to us in some capacity. And you would see these plays go on Broadway to white audiences. So then you're like, is this play for Black people? Who the fuck is this play for? Because one, you're not telling us anything we don't know. So spending an hour and a half with no intermission talking about, white liberals are annoying. We know that. But then it's like, is this for them? So again, it becomes like, who did you write the story for? Who is the audience? But it's marketed as a Black play, like as a Black piece of work. So I don't know. It's very confusing for me, especially as a writer. And it feels sometimes like, oh, maybe if I just write a certain way, that could be the big break. So I don't know. I think what's also hard, and last thing I'll say with this ramble is there was an era of films, specifically Black films, that were not like, I just watched Set It Off a couple nights ago. I was like, this is a really good film. I watched it years ago as a kid, but I think watching it in my 30s and like, wow, this is a really good film about Black women navigating systems that don't, that disadvantage them or don't treat them fairly, but also taking power and saying, fuck you, I'm gonna rob a bank. Like, and then also navigating sisterhood and love and like the relationship between, it was like, this film is lovely. Like this is, and there was a whole slew. I'm thinking of, The Best Man and Brown Sugar. And while like some of these films get sort of like put in this kind of rom-com genre, I think the stories they were telling and like the representation they gave for us was so like beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I just feel like we've lost some of it. Again, I don't want to like dismiss different writers that have come out and whatnot, but anywho, that's the end of my rant.
I appreciate it wasn't a rant. I think it was just rooted in so much truth. I'm just a consumer of film, right? So you look at it from a different lens, I'm sure. Like
Yeah.
it's like when I see therapists on screen, I'm like, that ain't even ethical. I don't even know how they do
Mm.
that. Their practice would be shut the fuck down. Like I do that, right? So I know that you are seeing this from a different lens, but you are absolutely right. Like I think in the 90s we did have this, there was this period of time where these Black films were centered on Blackness. And this was during a time where the the casting for films and stuff were not, you could not get, it seems like you couldn't get those films made then, but they were being made. Whereas
Mm.
now those films would be able to be made, but it seems like it's gone backwards. If that makes sense. I don't know how to
Absolutely.
describe that. But like there was The Wood, there was The Best Man, there was Set It Off, there was Soul Food, even though
Mm.
Jessica and I have talked about this, like who was the villain of that story.
Right.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
there was Soul Food, there was Waiting to Excel, which is one of my favorites, right? Like, just this storytelling of like finding yourself and navigating sisterhood and like how do you support one another. There's like that beautiful scene where Bernie's getting her hair cut off by Gloria
Mm.
because she's like, I'm done with this. I just cut it off. And she's like, what do you want? Do you want a scissor? Do you want a razor? Like, it's
Yep.
beautiful, right? Because it's
Beautiful.
like, I'm gonna support you. This is foolish, but you're my girl. Or when Robin is telling Savannah about an abortion that she had.
Mm.
Or, Whitney or Savannah's mom telling he's a good man, Savannah. Like there's so many. You see, I love that film.
Yeah.
I'm a Whitney Houston girl, but it's like there was such this dynamic time for films then that you just don't see anymore. Like I haven't watched a quote unquote black film in a very long time because it centers a white something.
Yeah.
Axel Foley just recently,
Axel Foley. Axel
like
Foley.
Beverly Hills Cop,
Oh yes. Uh-huh.
and so it's this wise detective who's funny, Axel Foley. But this film centered, it's in Beverly Hills, that's one thing. But it was Kevin Bacon being this, despicable cop. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like setting people up and all this other shit. And it takes this black man who's wise to like shut him down and like to shine light on the fact that this cop is bad. I mean, it's just it's tired.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Absolutely. I didn't see that. Right. Yeah. I'm feeling, God, I'm hearing you describe Waiting to Exhale. I don't even know, and not even to mention too, like, and I'm gonna open up a whole other can of worms, but it's a whole other conversation. But a lot of the black women, even then, that we saw as love interests or as leads, couldn't even be cast as that now. So like, yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't know, even the last time I saw a black romance, really. I think we're also in this era, not to like, but the Shonda Rhimes era introduced this sort of like interracial thing that we see. So if there is a black woman, she is
mhm.
with a white dude. Like if Kerry Washington is here, she is with a white guy.
Yep.
Just accept that. That is what's going to happen.
That's
Like,
it. That's all you're
that's
gonna
it. That's all you're gonna get. So it's like, damn, like, all right. Again, there are these anomalies, that happen, but it is just kind of like, yeah, why are we? Maybe do you think Insecure? I mean, I feel like maybe Insecure, while that was a show, was closer to
get. Yeah.
what we're describing. You know what I mean? I think.
Yeah. I think so. And it was, it talked about friendship and love
Mm-hmm.
and complexities in friendships and relationships and the wanting and longing and the grief. Um Around not just grief of dying, but it's grief of things changing and
Mm-hmm.
relationships shifting. And people going through their real ass jobs. Like that's what I
Yeah.
love. I love the one there was a one episode was the funniest one I think with the guy with the play. They went to
Oh
a
goodness.
play or something. It was somebody was playing Jesus. I mean, the most I'm not
Yeah. Yeah.
quote it exactly, but yeah, I mean, even like I saw a clip of Eddie Murphy promoting. I love Eddie Murphy. I saw a clip of him promoting Boomerang on Jay Leno, like
Oh.
back in the '90s, and Jay Leno was just like, I mean, it's unheard of, for black, people. Like it was because they were professionals. They worked for an ad agency.
Right. Right.
And, nobody was selling drugs outside of the ad agency.
No. 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 None of that.
Shot up the boardroom when their ad didn't get through. And they were just like, "Oh, is that hard to write about?" And he was like, "No, this is black people go to work.
Yeah.
Black
Yeah.
people fall in love. Black people, it's complexities in relationships." And Jay Leno was just stuck on like trying to like, do you think this is abnormal type of thing? And he was like,
Wow.
no, I stand by this. This is not abnormal. We are regular people with regular
Mm,
lives. Even Boomerang, that was such a good one too.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what will come.
Yeah.
But there is, yeah, yeah. I have questions, but. I
Mhm.
just keep, I think for me, it's like I just keep writing what I want to write, and maybe one day it'll make it. I don't know.
And not maybe one day, because I
One
think
day.
that there's a shift coming. I think, you know, Chiyoko, in my old ass age, is tired of seeing our stories be limited. And I'm tired of rewatching the same story over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we are storytellers, and there are so many stories that need to be told. Um
Mm-hmm.
and I'm tired of the slave narrative. Like, girl, I get it. And not only that, like, I get that the story is being told because we're still experiencing the effects of 400 years. Like, it's still happening. So I get that. I get why it's fresh in our minds, like why we got to tell this. But why are we telling these stories? Are we trying to tell these stories so white people can say, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
we did do that."
Whoopsies. Aww. Yeah.
But kudos to this great play. And I told you how I watched Color Purple and was
Yeah.
just the musical, which should not have been a musical. I don't give a shit what anybody
Yeah.
can fight me on it. I don't care. Send me a note. I don't give a shit. It was
Yeah.
horrible. And not saying that they weren't talented. They were amazing. They were a beautiful cast, all shapes, sizes, colors, everything.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw myself looking like a little morsel in the midst of vanilla ice cream, and
Yeah.
how everybody was kikiing, slapping their knee when Celie was called black and ugly by Mister, and how it
Ooh.
was made as a joke, and how they were singing about rape and assault, and everybody was just,
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
just,
yeah.
I wanted to leave at intermission. That's how bad
Mm.
it made me look at the color purple in a different light, and who
Yeah.
is actually consuming this story, and how we are seen as they are so resilient. They just sing, dance, and braid their hair.
I
Um,
know.
so that was hard.
That's very interesting because it does become, yeah, because I saw it too, was like, yeah, no. A lot of money spent for whatever. But that's interesting you say that because then the story does, it's so funny because singing and dancing is so linked to, they just sing and dance and get through it, which it's funny when you add singing and dancing to that story, it does become this sort of like black resilience, we shall overcome type of thing, versus in the film it's very much this woman's journey, and like her, yes, she overcomes stuff and she becomes empowered, but like, I don't know, there's just things that are not funny at all,
Mm, mm-mm.
like full stop. I think as we all know, all of the traumatic abusive elements in are never funny. It's never funny.
No,
But
never.
that is very what a bizarre, what an odd experience. I can't remember what my audience was, but I was just like, what are we doing? Why are we inside of a, what was it, a record with Sugar singing this? She's inside of, what are we doing?
It
What
was
is this?
stage. People were spinning. I was getting dizzy. I was queasy. I said, "Oh no, I can't. I can't live
Yeah,
with this. This is not life. This cannot be in 2024. No, 2023, 2022. I don't know when the play came here, but
yeah.
I thought it was. I didn't know it was the musical. I thought it was. I thought it was the actual play. I missed Broadway, so
Yeah,
I wasn't reading. That was my fault, because if I saw a musical, I probably would have thought. I know I would have thought twice about it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
because there's no way that book, and I wanted to write Alice Walker a letter like, "Do you know what they did?
Have you
Like,
seen this?
Girl, do you know?
I know.
No. Because
Yeah.
there's no way if me, Alice Walker, the great that I am, would have released my rights in that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
I guess
know.
release your rights even to the film, other people can buy. So it's about being mindful, I think, about your work and your intellectual property.
Yes. Yes. I agree.
And the fact that we have to be resilient, that is not a compliment. That
Mm-mm.
shouldn't have to be. And
Mm.
so I think we need to tell stories that are opposite of that.
Absolutely. There's
Yeah.
a lot of us. I remember again in all the different movements and all the different. There's a lot of us who did not make it for whatever reason. So I agree. I think the whole resiliency narrative. Let's leave that. Let's leave it. I love your idea though. I think to counter it, then it is showing here is a failed black person. Here is a black person who died. Here's a black person, I mean, who gave up.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Who said, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm done.
Yeah.
And they weren't a success story,
Yeah.
you know? It's like,
That's our life. That
yeah,
is the joys, the complexities, the successes, the failures, all those things. We are regular ass people.
absolutely.
Just stop. I do not want to keep showing us as these, we worked hard to the bone and we were walking 15 miles. Then,
Hmm.
oh, thank you, white person, you gifted me a car so I can keep going to my job that does not pay me what I'm worth. And like that
Right.
does not inspire me for greatness.
No.
So I just, anytime that you are writing a play, I will sit in the writer's room. Now, don't I'm always giving myself a job. However, that quality stage playwriting, because that's not my ministry. But I throw out an idea, like, yeah, girl, do it. And
Oh, I love that. I love that. It's just what I need. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
girl, you do
Yeah.
it. That's it. Woo, look at that line. That would be.
Go you.
Well, tell me about Crumbs. Crumbs from the Table of Joy. What is this play about? Are you still casting? Not for me, because it's not my ministry. But unless it's
Yeah.
a, but when does it open?
They open, let me see here. Sorry, because
Okay.
I'm gonna give you an exact date. So they open October 11th, Friday, October 11th. Um, and no, we are officially cast. So we have our cast, and they're all very excited, and we start rehearsal in September. So I've got a little bit of a month to kind of get prepared, but yeah, very, very excited. Yeah.
Okay. Are your cast, so you had like kids in the cast? Do y'all have to follow labor laws? I'm just
You
curious.
know, that's a good question. I think because it's a community theater, it's like, well, just see it. We're all volunteering. But yeah, we were really intentional. The two leads, I'm actually really excited that there's one lead and then she has her sister, but they are in the play, they're 17 and 15. And we were really intentional in wanting to cast youth, and so we were able to find actresses of those ages, and so that's exciting. And I mean, and they're just like phenomenal. I mean, they're so talented. So I think, and their parents are all on board, and they, so I'm, yeah, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about Celebration Arts is it is a training ground, in that people who have never done something, there is a space for you in a world of very exclusive theater, where it can be hard to get your foot in the door anywhere. The Celebration Arts is like the place for that. So,
Oh,
yeah.
that's beautiful. What's the play about? It's a book, right? Is it a
it,
book?
it is. It's a play. Yeah, it's a play about. Interestingly enough, it's about this family. It kind of is like it's closer to the book I was describing when we were colored, the one I'm acting in, but it is similar in that it's about this family. It's two daughters and their father. Their mother has just died, and they live in Pensacola, so they're from Florida. And due to just the grief of the mother and trying to like start anew, they moved to New York. So there's this huge, like in the 50s, so it's kind of sort of not sort of similar, but and there's just obviously this huge cultural shock because they're from the South and the East Coast, like what is going on? And then the father also ends up remarrying a German woman, which is sort of like a whoop. And so they all have to navigate that. Like, who is this white woman in our house? What is this? Why did you marry her? And also learn her perspective, which is, while she is white, she is not white American. She's German. She's German immigrant. So then she's got a whole and the playwright Lynn Nottage, she's so talented at because I've acted in several of her shows. This is my first time directing one. She's really good at creating this kind of like melting pot in a story. So she will find, it's primarily like a Black story, but she'll bring in other perspectives and like how do all these people navigate in this space, and she does a lot of research, and so I'm excited. I think it's going to be, it's a good and it's like a memory play. It's all about this young girl kind of remembering how she grew up. She loves movies as well, so what will be kind of cool to stage is there's these parts in the play where she kind of talks to the audience and she imagines how a moment could have been, like when something kind of bad it's like a bad memory. She's like, I wish they would have made up. I wish they could have been like these two movie stars, and the characters like act out what could have happened in this very like sort of imaginative romantic sort of way. And so that'll be kind of cool to stage, especially because I'm a film girl. So when I saw that in the script, I was like, wow, this is so neat. So anywho, I think people enjoy it.
Okay. I am looking forward because like last time I said, I'm trying to be more cultured. Would probably be cultured for me. Like I can get those little spectacle things even in the front.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little. No, but seriously, if you want to go, I'd be happy to get you guys some tickets. I mean, sure, please.
I'll be, and you'll be like, those damn spectacles off. Chioko, you don't even need them. And I'll appreciate that. You can tell me that.
Yeah, okay.
Keep me humble. I don't want to come in there with a fur on. I gotta rent a fur.
May not need that part. Yeah,
it's hot. It's still October, so
AC doesn't always work in the building either. So like, it's just community theater. You know what I mean? Like, just bring the tank top, bring a little fan. You never know. You just never know.
And then my fan will be loud. Like, I just came to Costa Rica, and Dan bought me this thing that he saw. He's a TikToker. I'm like, sir, you're damn.
Oh, that's fun.
And he sends me the reels all the time. I'm like, I'm like, sir, are you at work? Why are you?
Yeah.
But he saw this fan thing. It looks like binoculars. You can put it on around your neck or put it on your belt, and like it blows.
Oh wow! I think I've seen those.
Have you?
Yeah.
So I can't bring that to your show because it goes up to like speed 7.
Oh geez! Oh my gosh! So it's like
you can't. You guys will stop the show, and I don't want to be embarrassed. So I'll just do a church fan.
Oh, there we go. I like that. Yeah.
Okay, I'll order one. How are you balancing motherhood and being a partner and being a daughter during this time? You're busy. You're so busy. And even balancing time for you.
Oof. I think it's really, I'm trying to prioritize, like I haven't taken a vacation in a while. So I've been talking to my partner, like I really do need to kind of get away. I think one thing that he revealed to me, Will, and I think what actually kind of keeps me in balance is my family, is my loved ones. And unfortunately, when I get pretty stressed, I tend to be not take it out, but I'm more at home. Like, why is that out? Why is this out? Why, and then nothing works well. Like when my home is disrupted or when things are stressed in my home, which is like my peace, then I'm totally out of whack. And I find that if I prioritize, oddly enough, if I prioritize my personal happiness and doing the things I like to do, and then also my relationships, like the people I love, when that is intact, when that's really strong, it's like the water for the tree. So I do so much better in everything else.
Yeah.
So I think that yeah, because when that's out of whack, it's like, yeah, I could direct something, but I'm, you're, because we're people. I'm like, I'm out here directing, but at home I'm like, oh, we just had a big fight. You know what I mean? So it's like all that needs to be aligned, I think. So I think it's prioritizing my loved ones. But that's been a big thing for me, because I remember Will was like, every time you do a show, it seems like we all fall, but you get into this zone, and then it's like hard to be around. And and I was like, yeah, you're right. All right, okay, I'll do better.
I'm trying to be Oscar nominated.
I know. Damn, man. I'm like, we can do that later. You know what I mean? I could be nice later once I get the Oscar, But it's like, but yeah, that was a great moment, great lesson. So
Yeah. Oh, I understand. It's hard when you have a plight that you are
yeah,
ascending to, and you
yeah.
have a goal, and you're driven. And for me, it's been so important to have somebody that is like Will, where you're like, hey girl, this ain't guaranteed.
Yeah,
But I see you. But let me tell you,
yeah. Absolutely. You need that. You really do. You really
yeah.
do.
And I have a child that is, I call him the son of a therapist, because he'll be like, so as a collective, what is it that we can do to operate better as a unit? He
Oh my
texted that to us in our group chat, like, so I'm tired of being the only one caring for the dog when people are coming into our house to fix something. As
What?
a collective,
That is amazing.
how is it that y'all can support me and I can support you?
Right.
Because I'm like, no, you just need to do it, because I'm mom and your name is not on this mortgage. I mean,
Right. Yeah, totally.
not to his
Wow.
face, mostly in my head. Because
That's
that,
amazing. Wow.
but you meet those people, and your daughter will grow up probably doing the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
ooh, maybe you don't direct another play for another 6 months, because
Yeah.
I don't like this energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You need it. You need it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, my dear, what is liberation for you?
Oh gosh. Oh, I think I don't think it's I just think it's doing what I want to do when I want to do it, and that's really. I think it is being. I think it's being. I think it was this past year. Honestly, I
Mm,
think that's the most liberated I felt. I think it's just being able to do my art when I and not feeling like I'm running out of time. Yeah. Well, there's something. I think I've always felt like I was running out of time. Like I
mm,
gotta get the script out, so then that way somebody can notice it, and something can happen. And if I don't do it, I might die. Like just like this idea, like I'm running out of time. And in the year, it was like, oh no, everything will. What it will be is what it will be, and like I don't need to be. I'm not running out of time. I don't know that it's so weird. I never really thought of that, but that feeling like left me, and now it's kind of crept back in because I
uh,
think it's like you know what I mean? Because I had all the time, so then there was no fear of it. It's like, well, but now, well, thank you for the therapy session, and I see what you do. I see it. You say podcast. Come on, we're talking about the play. And you're like, wait. I'm like rethinking life decisions, I'm like, whoa, yeah.
And
So
you're
thank
starting
you.
businesses.
I'm starting business. I mean, I am leaving with. I am so full. My cup runneth over after this. I'm just like, wow.
Well,
So
I'm
thank you.
curious, Imani, like what do you think? Because I feel like even though your cup is running over, so is mine. Because it's like looking into a mirror,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
you're a little bit younger than me, probably girl a lot, but
Well,
just the same age.
no,
I mean,
welcome.
you know, um, but it's like looking into a mirror almost,
Mhm,
and you know, I'm curious about what your feeling of running out of time is rooted in,
mhm,
because I experienced the same thing where I'm like, but I gotta do this, I gotta write a book, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this.
yeah.
And it's like I have the same thought, and I think I know where my root of that is.
Mm.
I'm curious about yours.
That is a really good question. I don't know. I guess it's like I don't know if I can pinpoint it. I think though it comes from like a lack of contentment, like never feeling like where I am is good enough. So
Mm,
there's always this feeling of you got to keep accomplishing something. You have to keep making something. You have to keep producing something. There's a fear like it's never enough what you're doing,
mm,
and maybe it's because I know that maybe it's because I've never really had the time to dedicate. So there's always just been a feeling like, well, you're only doing it for like an hour to a day. So how could
oh, oh, you're good. It started a new recording, so you're fine. Mm. Do you want me? I can stop it, and then you can come back. Okay, I'll stop it.